In this lesson, we take a look at V-Ray Quick settings. To access V-Ray Quick settings dialog in the V-Ray toolbar, click on this icon, and now we have V-Ray Quick settings window. Instead of having to go through all of those complex render settings, here you can control the overall quality of your render in a very simple and user-friendly interface. First of all, up here you have 4 presets. The first one from the left side is exterior preset, and if I select this preset, the render settings will be adjusted for architectural exterior visualizations. For example, if you come down here to this GI dropdown, you can see brute force, or BF, has been used as the primary and secondary GI solution. Next, we have the interior preset, and as I do so, and as we need to calculate a lot more GI bounces to get acceptable result in an interior scene, Irradiance Map and Light Cache has been used as the primary and secondary GI engines. We have VFX preset for the scenes that you have some sort of VFX theme and you don't require GI, and that's why GI is off in this preset. We have the Studio preset for product shots, obviously, and in this case GI is set to brute force and light cache. Using this button you can save out or load presets, and we discussed this earlier. We have these 3 simple sliders to control GI quality, shading quality, and anti-aliasing or image sampling quality without having to go through the settings and manually control all of those parameters. Right now we are using the Studio Setup preset, and the GI quality is set to 0%. In this quality you can see brute force subdiv is set to 8 and light cache subdivision is set to 500. If I increase the quality, let's say to 50%, now brute force subdivs is set to 32 and light cache subdivs is set to 1500s. And this results in a cleaner render, obviously, but with increased render time. But we didn't have to go through and manually control all of those stuff, right? Which is good. Using this drop down, you can select different GI combinations for primary and secondary engines. And if I click on this settings button, V-Ray takes me to the render setup window and GI tab to adjust any other parameters that I want. We can control the shading quality by increasing and decreasing the shading rate value. And finally, we can control image sampling quality using this AA or anti-aliasing slider. For example, if I set the quality to 10%, 1 will be the minimum image sampling subdivisions and 2 will be the maximum subdivisions, and 0.05 will be the noise threshold. And obviously this is going to give us a very noisy render. And if I increase the quality to something like 90%, the minimum subdivision is 2, maximum is 22, and noise threshold is 0.002, and this result in a noise-free render, but with a very huge increase in render time. We can define bucket or progressive image sampling, or click on this settings button and go to the extended image sampling settings. And using this checkbox down here, you can enable or disable a very virtual frame buffer. And after you are done adjusting the render settings, you can click on this render button and render your scene. So if you want to use V-Ray but looking for a much simpler workflow, you can use V-Ray Quick Settings dialog, which is going to be very helpful. So in this lesson we learned about V-Ray Quick Settings, and I will see you in the next lesson.